And this is going to be a tragedy for Australia. I mean, got a party that's been shocking a government looking like now beating a party that's only been shocking at campaigning. And today we were reminded that 3 more years of Labor will come at a terrible cost. I mean, I'll give you 2 examples from today. The Prime Minister finally asked about the devastating total blackout of Spain and Portugal this week, caused by having too much unstable wind and solar, which is exactly the problem that we've been warned we will have. And he was asked too about the warning from long-time British Labor Prime Minister Tony Blair that these net zero policies of people like him were irrational and bound to fail. But Anthony Albanese seems blind and deaf and determined to push ahead for 3 more years with his disastrous net zero schemes.
Can you explain how your renewables focus plan will be different to the policies that Blair's warning about and may have actually massively faltered in Spain this week?
Well, the first thing that I'll do is to reject the characterisation that you just raised. That's the Liberal Party's characterisation. Our plan is for renewables backed by gas, backed by batteries and backed by hydro.
It doesn't work. And there was no sign either that Albanese will ever cut back on his spending, ever stop adding to Australia's debt year after year.
Have you given up on ever delivering another surplus in a government you lead?
Andrew, the last election, I didn't promise to deliver a surplus, and we delivered 2. And this year's deficit is $27 billion, but that's almost half of what was anticipated. So we've worked really hard on budget savings, over $100 billion that we've delivered during this term. The last budget handed down by the coalition delivered not one.
So can you deliver a surplus again?
What I won't do is to speculate. What I will do is say that we've been responsible economic managers and will continue to do so.
Those savings are mythical and he will not deliver a surplus. Now, I mentioned that story in the News Corp papers today of Liberals, unnamed, anonymous, already bagging each other for the disastrous campaign. Joining me is the author of that, James Campbell of the Herald Sun. James, great to see you again. Great story. Who is blaming who?
Well, I think the backbenchers are blaming the front benchers and the front benchers are blaming the leader's office and everyone's blaming campaign headquarters and campaign headquarters is blaming the ad agency and I don't know who the ad agency is blaming because I don't talk to them, but you get the picture.
And the main criticisms?
Well, the criticism of the campaign is that the ads were no good, or not good enough, and even when they worked, they weren't. The spending's far too late. They should have been that they haven't learnt modern campaign techniques, that they didn't do anything to deal with the fact that they knew that there was going to be criticism of Dutton. I mean, after the Dunkley by-election, where they went backwards during the course of it, they knew that unless they found a way to soften or manage Dutton's image, Labor had a lot of stuff bullets that they could fire at him, and those bullets would wound. But they did nothing. But the biggest criticism, I suspect, is that they just didn't. They haven't worked. The policy work wasn't done, or if it was done, it wasn't released in time. There's genuine confusion about how this has been able to happen. I mean, the election date is not actually a mystery. It was government's gone full term. If you haven't done your homework by the end of the full term, you've got no one to blame but yourselves. I mean, if they'd gone to an election in the first year, maybe there's an excuse, but it was always going to be in May if it wasn't earlier. So they definitely had to have it done by now, and it hasn't really happened. And I don't personally really understand how that happened. I think part of the problem was they decided they were going after a whole bunch of seats that the Liberal Party's never had before, right? So they're trying to break into new country. So they needed to understand what motivated those voters, what they would like and what they wouldn't like, and that work wasn't done really. I mean, you would never ever run a campaign that you were trying to win people over in the outer suburban areas of Australia with a policy to sack 41,000 public servants. There's a reason why the Labor Party runs on cuts in its heartland every single election. It's not for sentimental reasons, it's because it works. So what were they thinking? You know, there were ways that could have been handled. Likewise, did they think about what the impact of work from home was? I mean, you can argue about the merits or otherwise of work from home, but the fact was there's enough evidence out there that a lot of people won't look at jobs without work from home element. And then they came back and they say, oh, no, it's only for public servants. Well, it doesn't matter what you say. It's what people hear. And in that one, they were hearing, they want me to go back to the office 5 days a week. I don't like that. No, thank you.
But again, that's
kind
an
of
example
mess
of
we're
a
in, I
policy that
guess.
wasn't explained properly. It wasn't explained properly, and they didn't have the courage of their convictions that brought them to that policy, and they dumped it, and so they had the worst of all possible worlds. I mean, it's just incredible. But finally, James, why are these Liberals having this argument now, through you, in the papers, when it can only hurt their campaign? Well, perhaps I'm just an interesting guy to talk to. I don't know. Maybe they just enjoyed getting things off their chest. I don't think that they're doing it really in a malicious way, bizarrely. I think a lot of them are themselves genuinely bewildered as to what has happened, and they're trying to process their grief, I guess.